movie or the short? Where are we?
The movie, I'm sorry. I tried to move past the short because I knew that was going to open up a whole different element to talk about. And I brought it back around. Welcome back to Eye to Eye, the place where we talk about anything and everything Disney. My name's Kyle.
And my name is Jessica, and today we are here to do a spoiler-filled review of the movie Elemental.
Yes, it's time to discuss that movie, Elemental, with plenty of elements to talk about.
Okay.
Sorry, I had a few of those on our spoiler-free review as well. There's probably going to be plenty more dad jokes where that came from.
That's annoying.
I might have a spark or two of a joke.
I'm just going to throw a bucket of water on you.
That's
all I got.
So that's what you can expect throughout all of this. So as a reminder, this is spoiler-filled. So be careful if you haven't seen it. Obviously, the comments are open for anybody to discuss anything down there. This is your final warning, and we just kind of freeform this thing and talk about whatever we want to discuss. I think, honestly, the biggest thing to talk about is how much you and I were surprised that we loved this movie.
Absolutely. And how much that we were surprised that the love story was like so ingrained in this movie.
Yes. It was nice to have a relationship story again that was about, just a boy and a girl hanging out and then getting to know each other and falling in love.
I was going to say, it wasn't insta-love.
Yeah.
It was friendship.
Yeah.
And then, it was that typical story of, these two people can never fall in love because their families will never work.
Romeo and Juliet.
Or Little Mermaid.
So basically
every Disney love story, anything, but yeah.
Was it star-crossed lovers that,
Except there wasn't murder-suicide in this one.
Wow, that just took a turn right there.
You were the one that brought up Shakespeare.
I didn't bring up the bad parts about Shakespeare.
Can you think about Shakespeare without murder? No.
I guess not. Or death, or just any form
destruction.
of bad things.
Shakespeare is evil.
There are some, real things in this one, but they weren't that serious.
No.
Actually, let's just talk about it at the end of the movie there.
Let's talk about when we were all sobbing because we thought Wade died.
Yeah, I really thought he died at the end of this thing.
That was horrible.
I really thought, because, let's think about the progression of Wade's story here. We'd learned that he had lost his father and was very regretful about how it ended with them, and then he kind of helped Ember figure that out, how she could help her relationship with her father, and then they had kind of reconciled, and I was like, this is going to be it, because she's about to...
Yeah.
We're leading towards Ember getting to this point where she wants to be her own self and do her own
thing. And not
thing.
take over her dad's store.
And that was going to... Even having Wade could have held her back a little bit. I was like, they're going to remove him from that story and have her go off without him. I thought he was dead. I'm going to be honest with you.
I just assumed he was dead and she was going to have to take over the store and her dreams were never going to be fulfilled.
Wow, you went like true Shakespeare.
Well, I just thought if he's dead, she's not going to have anybody support her dreams of going off to this, blown glass school.
Unless she wanted to honor his death by, making sure she did.
No, because she'd be grieving him too much and wouldn't be able to go by herself.
Well, we know what Jessica would have done in that scenario. She wouldn't have followed her dreams for me, I guess.
If you're dead, I have nobody to push me towards my dreams.
All right. All right. Enough about death. We did both get fooled, in a sense, to think that he was going to die. I mean, that was a pretty intense scene there because...
It was really intense, especially for a kid's movie.
Because you realize this entire time, oh no, Ember's going to, get washed out and she's going to die. But then you realize...
See, and I always felt like it was going to be him that... Mm-mm. I guess it does make
She was more
sense.
in danger the entire movie, getting like...
That's true, and that's why he always had to protect her.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it was an interesting juxtaposition where all of a sudden we flipped it and he's in danger and he's almost dead there. So, but what?
Yeah.
So that is really something that stuck out to me from this movie.
So the other thing that stuck out to me that has nothing to do with death, so let's move on from that, was the familial aspect of it from both sides. Mm-hmm. So we had Wade's family.
Yeah.
With his mom and his siblings and his nieces and nephews, which I loved seeing that.
Very much like my family. And your family to some degree, too.
Just in general, the chaos of, what happens if we push her in the water? So that was really cute. But then you have her family, who's completely different, just her mom and dad. And so I really liked that it showed, even in a non-traditional sense, because this is a cartoon, but showed traditional family values of hey, your family could look like this, where one of your parents has passed away, and but you're still really close. Or your parents could look like you could have two parents.
Yeah, that's a good point, because one thing that I think a lot of times the trope is a parent's passed away, we're all sad. And yet we're all, well, frankly,
which obviously is a fact.
Yes.
But as somebody who we have both lost a parent.
Yep.
you can also see that your family can still bond.
Right.
And you can still have these great moments in your life, even without somebody that you deeply loved and deeply miss.
Yeah, and I think that was a great way to show that. And I think they almost kind of showed the sadness because it was part of their characters and being a water person that you cried all the time.
But it was like funny. Like they did this little game where who cried the fastest.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I like that because I could have seen my family doing that. Who can make somebody do something first? Usually it'd be like spew water. Yeah. That would have been like a good tie into that.
Your family would do that tortilla and water slapping thing.
Do what?
You hadn't seen that this was like a year ago, where you put water in your mouth and you slap somebody with a tortilla, and whoever laughs first spits out their water.
So it's just a variation of the spitting water game,
Yeah.
except you slap with a tortilla. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's really interesting.
I've never done it.
A flip side, you talk about familial stuff. So you got Wade's family, been through a loss, still very close together.
Yep.
And then you got this other family who the Lumens, which is close to our last name.
Yeah, really weird to think about. I didn't put that together till just now.
I know, just threw me off a little bit. But again, puns with lights and all that kind of stuff. But they're very close. But they're like tight knit because of what they've been through, and they won't let anybody in much,
right? Except
their own people, really.
And the dad is very sick, and you can see that he's kind of close to passing away at some point.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, so maybe Wade's going to help her through that aspect of life.
Yeah, there was a lot of elements in each of the plot and storylines. I didn't even do that time, but it just came out. I mean, it's just the puns write themselves in this movie and in this review in and of itself. So I'll try to maybe not do that too much now, but yeah, that was an interesting kind of dynamic going on there. That was the Romeo and Juliet aspect, the two families divided, even though they weren't really fighting or anything like that. That's the only kind of difference.
But it was just like Ember's dad was always like, I hate water, I hate water, I hate water.
Yeah.
So that was there.
So they lived in Firetown.
Yes.
But they came from Fire Island or Fireland. That's what
Fireland.
Fireland is where it was. What'd be really cool is if everything gets a sequel these days. And I think this was a good enough character story that we'd like to see it again some point.
I want to see what their babies look like. So did they make cloud babies?
I wasn't going to go there, but since you went there,
fire, what is fire and water
Is it steam babies? I mean, I don't know.
Also, okay, let's talk about those clouds.
Oh yes, I knew you were going to
go there. The basketball game, or I don't know if it's basketball, I don't know what they were playing, but this was...
It was a gas.
It was all toot jokes. So all the little
Just
boys...
say it, Jessica. We don't have to bleep it out. It was fart jokes, okay?
All
fart
the little boys
jokes.
in our theater were laughing at that.
Bunch of farts everywhere. I'm just going to say it.
The teams were the windbreakers and the crop dusters.
That was really good. Look, so there's adult humor throughout this. There was some references to things that were very adult. And even adult humor like that, something that you wouldn't maybe want your 3-year-old to run around and be repeating a lot. But it's funny for us because, that's what we say, crop dusters, break the wind, or whatever. Is that what they said? Make them break wind or something?
Something like that, yeah.
That was
funny.
You found yourself chuckling a lot, and then you'd have these laugh out loud moments. That was one of your favorites, which tells you the type of humor that she likes. When
juvenile middle school boy humor.
That I guess it was basketball they were playing.
Yeah, honestly it kind of looked like Quidditch, but
airball. I think it was called airball or something like that.
Probably
windball, and thus you would break the wind on that.
Anywho,
so Gail was there. Gail was. Do you call them air people or cloud people?
So I don't know. I was
That's
also
a little
disappointed that other than fire and water, the other elements weren't really a big plot point.
Well, and think about it this way. So you're introducing this world. You don't have time to tell a lot if you're going to try to focus really on this story. And remember, we've complained in movies in the past.
They spent too much time.
Right. Remember when we talked about Little Mermaid, that almost felt like there was too much added into maybe not too much, but just you felt like you were getting pulled away from the main story.
Actual story.
So this one, I think, did a good job. What do I love? World building. And now I kind of want to see more. I want to see... where they go off. And
I guess that's true. You'd rather leave the movie wanting more than feeling like it was too much.
Too much of this one. Which is why, if you've watched our spoiler-free review where we grade the movie, we gave it such high marks there because we loved it and we walked away with more. But I'm glad that you wanted to see more of the other types of people. Who would you have, which ones interested you the most?
Well, I thought the plant people, I don't know what they were called. But
So I think you had plant people and then earthy people, like dirt. Like some were plants, some were dirt.
I liked the plant people that, remember when they were on the train or something and they were pruning each other and they were like, nothing to see here.
Just a little pruning, which was one of those.
That was hilarious.
One of those jokes that were out there. Were there any rock people?
I don't think so.
I don't think there was any. Not that I remember. Like that felt like a missed opportunity for a joke there, like a rock and roll band. Come on, I mean, that's good stuff.
I think the Trolls have done that too many times.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, that felt like a good opportunity there. And that's one of those things, too, that I think lends itself to seeing this movie again. Because it's kind of Zootopia-like, right?
It was Zootopia-like. I knew it was something.
And I'm going to just go ahead and ruin this for everybody. You probably won't be able to unsee it now. Where they're flying in the hot air balloon, that's where Nick and Judy are riding in that tram thing together.
For sure.
Except not a love story there, but.
And like when Ember's coming down to save her parents from the water, you know, and she's like riding so fast on that motorcycle. Wasn't there a scene in Zootopia where Judy's coming and yeah.
So look, you're gonna see things that maybe weren't purposely reused in this, but you're like,
And the sloth guy, the really slow guy.
Yep. What was his name? Because he was an Earth person.
Yeah.
Because that's Gail and them at the end kind of acted like they liked each other a little bit.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name was, but it reminded us of the sloth in Zootopia.
Yeah. And then there was the other Earth kid, Claude, who was like trying to hit on Ember the entire time. Remember the little kid who would like grow things out of his armpits?
Oh, yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah.
I didn't realize his name was Claude.
Yeah, that was his name.
How is that a play on being an Earth?
Claude of Dirt. It just hit her. Claude of Dirt. So we did get a lot of like Earth people, air cloud people, and that was the main ones they seemed to focus on. It's kind of like in Zootopia too, where they didn't do a lot of reptiles, if any, or like insects. They just did mammals. So it's like you got enough to see here.
Yeah.
We'll focus on a little bit more. So what did you think of Wade overall?
So at first I did not know that they were going to be a love interest.
Because they did a good job of not like giving that away too much.
Right. He was so like goofy and lovable. Mm-hmm. And to me, he felt like this like older, not like a dad, but like an older uncle relationship because he like had a big kid job and he was an inspector. And,
I see. Yep.
And then here she is and she's like, she can't even manage her dad's shop and she's having all these anger issues and it's just kind of that weird dynamic and then you kind of see their friendship evolve and you're like, oh, I guess they are similar in age. I don't know if fire and water can be ages, but...
Well, I mean, they started at some point, so they have an age. I mean, I guess you could say like that bonfire that maybe we have out in our backyard or something, like it started on this date, so it's this many days old.
I mean, I guess that's how you think about it. So, but he was really lovable and goofy, and I loved the scene that's in one of the trailers where the first time she sees him, he's got like all these muscles and everything, and he's like, oh wait, that tunnel like really messed up my figure. And then he shakes out and
you saw Ember too kind of like, well, hey,
Yeah.
Look at that for a minute there. And that was the first kind of little hints that there might have been something. There's something.
That's true.
That's a song. That's a Disney song.
Yeah.
Something there. What is that from?
Beauty and the Beast.
Thank you. I knew I could count on you to pull me out of there for that one. I thought I was going to be annoyed by Wade to start with.
Yeah, he seemed like a lot, and then he kind of chilled out.
The over-crying, the over-emotional stuff. But then it's like, okay, I get it now. I get what they're trying to do with him. He's like the super supportive guy. And now you understand why, because of what he went through with his
And you also realize that she needed him because she was having all these temper issues. And he was like, basically, your anger is justified.
Yeah.
But why are you having this anger? Let's delve into that. And that's kind of how he helped her and helped her realize that she wanted to not run her dad's store.
Yeah. And so that's a good segue into the character of Ember. And I thought they did a good job of not making her seem like a brat for not wanting to take care of the shop because she was in on it. She was like,
she was trying.
I'm doing this. Dad needs me. Mom needs me. We're going to make this is our legacy. Like the blue flames got to carry on. I did that was kind of like a cool,
weird.
Well, I thought it was cool that they developed a culture for the fire. And
okay.
I'm sure that was like a made up language that they were speaking at times. I don't think it was.
I don't know any fire people in real life.
I don't either, but I'm just, I liked that there was like, okay, they're giving them some background other than, wait, we're just the fire people. We might burn you and we might blow out ourselves. Like that was really cool.
That's true. I am a little disappointed that they didn't start burning things, like that there were no fires or no natural disasters. It was very tame.
I did find myself at times like, wouldn't the fire do that to this, or wouldn't that do that to this?
Yeah, you just have to like.
You have to suspend that.
Yeah.
For just a little bit. But Ember, I thought, her story was really good, and not making her a brat, making her responsible, but also recognizing, I want more out of my life than this. Yeah. And I think that's a fair thing to do. But you can do both, manage both, but you got to be honest.
You do. And I like that Wade and his family really brought that out in her.
Yeah.
And saw like, hey, this doesn't have to be your whole life. Like, you're really talented in this aspect, and I like that his mom helped her with that.
And that's what made it like a really good match too. And that little scene at the end with her and her dad doing the little bow thing.
Yeah.
Kind of, even though, we don't understand that culture, but you understood the significance of it because they paid it off at the end. It's like, well, that's a big moment for them. Yep. It's like accepting of who you want to be and what you're not going to be for our family at this point. But that is okay.
Seeing that the store was fine.
Yeah.
Without her running it.
There's two people that were there the entire time. Like, there's always in like those mom and pop stores, there's two that are always there. To see them take it over. Okay, that's a pretty good play off of that. Trying to think if there's anything else that we haven't discussed.
I really liked that all of the funny moments from the trailer were still funny in the movie.
Yes, and that's hard to do.
It is hard to do, and you always wonder, okay, the trailer's really funny. Are these going to be the only funny
It's happened before.
moments in the whole movie? But no, they were still funny in the movie, and there were other funny moments too.
Yeah, it's really hard to pull off, and I think that's because they continue to play off not the same jokes, but like have the running things build on each other throughout the entire time. So you kind of almost like didn't like, oh, this is the only joke that's going to be here. So
right,
plenty of laughs. I think you teared up at least one time in there.
Oh, yeah, when I thought Wade was dead, I definitely
Was
cried.
there one time that you looked over and you were like, oh, man. Oh, you know what? We haven't really talked about the Ellie and Carl thing, or the Carl thing, the short at the beginning of this.
I forgot about that already.
Yeah, so we'll leave that for another time. But I think that's just a good story that we had here. It was just kind of...
The movie or the short? Where are we?
The movie, I'm sorry. I tried to move past the short because I knew that was going to open up a whole different element to talk about, and I brought it back around. Any other big things that you can think of on that?
I think we hit all of mine.
We hit all the elements. I brought it one more time. All right, we want to know from you down in the comment section below what you think about Elemental, the brand new Pixar movie. Let us know down there. What else should they do?
If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of Eye to Eye. Until we assemble again,
May the Force be with you.
and we'll see you real soon.
Bye, guys.